Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope everyone's doing well. Back here today with another video, but this is something different. I've actually decided to do a thread of my own. So I have done one before. That was the competition for the 200 subs to celebrate that. So thanks to everyone who participated in that. At the moment, I'm almost at 300 subscribers, and I've had about 15 new subscribers since coming back from overseas. So I really appreciate all the new subscriptions and everyone's continued support. And I was thinking of waiting till 300, except knowing how my subscriptions go up and down, we could be waiting a long time. So I thought, just get it out now and do something different. I've watched a lot of other people's threads lately, and I thought I'll do one of my own because it's been really fun. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll just tell you a bit about the thread. Just consult my notes. So my thread is called "Don't Always Judge a Book by Its Cover." That's the title because I didn't want to have a convoluted title, and I'll explain it in a moment. But basically, to be eligible for this competition, in which you will win a record or CD of your choice, no holy grails, but reasonably, sort of standard price. That's what will happen if you'll win. So I'll just explain how it works. Like last time, people who participate and respond with a video or comments, I'll put their name in a draw and we'll see who the lucky winner is. Last time it was Mr. Boulder. He won 3 CDs and a record from my collection and also a new record. Today for this thread it's going to be a record or a CD. So to be eligible, firstly, you need to be subscribed to my channel. Secondly, you need to make a response video if you have a channel, so just following the same topic. And thirdly, if you don't make videos or if you don't have a channel, you can leave your choices in the comments. So I will tell you the details shortly. Also, last time I think 8 people gave response videos. I hope I captured everyone, in that draw. If I missed anyone, I'm really sorry. That's why I'm saying if you do join this time, please let me know in the comments or tag me or something so I'm aware, because I would hate to miss someone's video. I always enjoy watching people's responses. Okay, so with this competition, it's going to go till the end of July, and that's when I'll draw the winner. So, as I said, this thread is called "Don't Always Judge a Book by Its Cover." So what I'm talking about here, recently, remember I responded to Andy Cloudy Milder's thread, which is favorite artworks of all time. I thought it was a really good idea. Also Marty's one talking about skulls in artworks. So this whole thing about artworks, it got me thinking. And with Andy's thread, it was more like my favorite album artworks I showed, they were also awesome music. But what about when it's a mixed situation? Sometimes when you see an artwork and you think, oh, that looks really amazing, I've got to check that album out. And then based on the artwork, you think it's going to be awesome, but then the music falls short of your expectations. So it's sort of like brilliant artwork, and then the album is disappointing in comparison. So, and then also conversely, sometimes you see an album cover which you think is really boring, and then it turns out to be awesome music. So that's what I'm talking about today. So what I'm asking people to do is show 5 albums which have amazing artwork, but which, in your opinion, the music does not live up to the artwork. Ultimately, it's the music which is important, but often the artwork reels you in. So, awesome artwork, but the album's a bit disappointing. And also 5 albums with boring artworks or boring covers, in your opinion, where the music happens to be awesome. So that's what I'm going to show you an example so you get the idea. And when I show these ones where I say they're disappointing in comparison to the artwork, I'm not necessarily saying they're bad or shit albums, but they just don't quite live up to the brilliance of the artwork. So slight variation on the thing. So on that you can show less if you want. If you think 5 is too much, you can show 3 of each, that's fine. Maybe let's say at least 3. And you can also show more if you want, like in my last thread, Kim from This Is Music, he showed a ton of albums for the 10 for innovative albums, and I really enjoyed that. So the sky is the limit for how many albums you want to talk about. Okay, so first of all, coffee. I just watched Mr. Boulder's video and I thought, yeah, I feel like a coffee. So thanks, James. All right, so I'm going to start now with my choices. There's 5 and 6. So first of all, albums which are disappointing, which don't live up to the brilliant artwork. So first of all, this is Suicidal Tendencies with The Art of Rebellion. So when I first saw this artwork when I was in high school, I thought, that's awesome. Like the graffiti on the wall, the burning of the Mona Lisa picture, and this rebellious looking guy here, like security guard turned anarchist, I don't know. But yeah, when I was in high school, I thought, oh, this is a really brilliant artwork, and I thought, oh, I've got to check that album out. It looks cool. At the time, I didn't know Suicidal Tendencies. Let me just say that the album Lights, Camera, Revolution, that to me, that's a perfect 10 out of 10 album. Absolutely brilliant. This is the one I got after I saw it at a discounted price, and sorry to say, but I just found it very disappointing in comparison to Lights, Camera, Revolution, and also the artwork. Now, when I say that, I'm not slagging this album off. There are, like, the production is brilliant, the playing is very talented, but I just don't like the songs, generally speaking. I don't like the material. And hey, you know, that's taste. So if other people like it, that's fine too. But yeah, so if you're not familiar, Suicidal Tendencies are sort of a punk thrash crossover band, or skate thrash, however you call it. If you haven't checked out Lights, Camera, Revolution, definitely do so. Just this album, I don't know, I feel it never gets going, and there's no songs which really reach out and grab me, like the song Can't Stop. It's like the rant in You Can't Bring Me Down, except it's nowhere near as impactful, is that a word? And it's sort of drawn out, and I feel it's a bit contrived. And then there's just other songs where I find the title's a little bit annoying, like We Call This Mother Revenge, Gotta Kill Captain Stupid. I think that title's a bit stupid. And what's the one? I'll Hate You Better, things like that. Yeah, and so like even the lyrics don't really grab me either. There is one good song though, it's good atmosphere, Which Way to Free, I do like that song. But overall this album is just disappointing. As I said, it's not terrible, but I don't find myself listening to this one very often. So yeah, this is the first album for me where the music falls short of the artwork. So Suicidal Tendencies with The Art of Rebellion. Sorry about the glare. Okay, up next, Merciful Fate with 9. So this album art is absolutely amazing. I love that, and I did know Merciful Fate when I first heard this album. Like Don't Break the Oath is a classic album. That's my favorite Merciful Fate album. I just saw it in the shop and I decided to buy it. Again, not a terrible album, but it's just not awesome, or it's not fucking awesome. Like, it doesn't really grab me by the throat. Like, there are some, I've said before, like that song Sold My Soul is a great atmospheric song. And there are a lot of catchy songs on this album, like Burn in Hell, Kiss the Demon, Buried Alive, but it just, I don't know, it just lacks that punch where it's like, this is fucking awesome. So, yeah, a good album, but just a little bit lackluster in comparison to some of the classic ones, and also to this artwork. So, certainly not a bad album. I'd probably give this one like 6.5 or 7 out of 10. But yeah, in comparison to the artwork, the music falls short, for me, slightly. So once again, if you think it's a great album, don't be offended. Just for me, it doesn't quite live up to the artwork. So that's Merciful Fate with 9. All right. Coming up to the next one. This is Enthroned with Zes Hereticon. So first of all, look at that artwork. Absolutely amazing, colorful, striking, demonic. It's brilliant. However, once again, for me, the music on the album falls short of the artwork, doesn't live up to it. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I did an Enthroned ranking a while ago, and I ranked this one 9 out of 11, so towards the bottom, definitely. But as I did say in that video, there's no bad Enthroned albums. Like, each one is worth listening, but this one is just one of the less memorable ones. So the problem for me with this album, well, not a problem, but I just find it lacks memorable material a lot of the time. So like, this is when they were sort of going through a very monotonous blasting stage in their music. And by the way, as you know, a lot of you will know, Enthroned are one of my favorite bands, but yeah, it just lacked memorable material. So as you may have heard me say, the first 2 tracks, Crimson Legions and Dance of a Thousand Knives, are awesome. So is Blacker Than Black, that's the one with the mid-pace start. They've got some Maiden-esque melodies. So Enthroned being a Belgian black metal band, you do expect blasting with a black metal band, but it's just like, I always find about starting from track 5, all the songs sort of like just meld into one to me. And then on top of that, they have 3 bonus tracks at the end, just completely unnecessary. Well, not unnecessary, but you know what I mean. It's just like, if it's not adding anything to it, yeah, I just feel that this album is a bit samey. So again, not a terrible album, and I do listen to it once in a while, you know, but it's more sort of background music. But yeah, just knowing what this band is capable of, it's one of their not so good albums, I would say. Like, they've released some brilliant albums. Watch my Enthroned ranking video for more information. Yeah, but this is another one where the music falls short of the artwork for me. So that's Enthroned with Zes Hereticon. All right. Okay, coming up next, this is Emperor with 9 Equilibrium. So you've heard me talk about this album before on the terrible songs from killer albums. So let me just explain. I do like this album. This artwork is just absolutely epic. So with the 3 band members on the front and very mysterious. I remember when this first came out and I said to the guy in the shop, is this a new album or is it a bootleg? And he said, it's brand new. And I said, awesome. So I bought it. Yeah, as you know, some of you may know, I've got mixed feelings about this album. It's the first Emperor album which I didn't like completely. So again, I'm not saying it's a terrible album. There are some brilliant songs on this, but it's just the least consistent for me. And then, oh well, Prometheus, I didn't like that one either at all, really. But this one, yeah, it's got some amazing songs like everyone knows Emperor, atmospheric, symphonic Norwegian black metal with a lot of keyboards, a lot of atmosphere. And on this album, they sort of experimented with different sounds as well, like going in more of a death metal direction in some songs, but and sort of more anthemic approach in some songs, but really good. There's some great songs on this, like I love Curse You All Men, Decrystallizing Reason has such a powerful atmospheric intro. Sworn is a great song, and The Source of Icony, where they experiment with some Merciful Fate kind of sounds. But yeah, there are some songs on this which I just can't stand. Everyone, you might know that I can't stand that song, An Elegy of Icaros. It's just woozy and floaty and dreamy sounding, but not in a good way. It's like it's wandering off in La La Land. And I felt the same about that one, Nonus Equilibrium. It just descends into ambience. The Warriors of Modern Death, it's okay. And Blindness and Subsequent Sears, some great clean vocals on that song. But as you can see, this album to me is a bit patchy. Like this, some songs which are brilliant and others I don't like so much. So this is one where I probably like about 65% of the album, a lot. But again, it's just not as consistent as the other Emperor albums, so therefore not quite living up to this amazing artwork, but definitely still worth checking out. So that's Emperor with 9 Equilibrium. All right. Okay, and the last album where the music doesn't live up to the artwork, in my humble opinion, this is Dark Funeral with Atera Totus Sanctus. So again, I've done a... Shit, this cover's broken. Excuse me. Yeah, I've done a Dark Funeral discography ranking. As some of you may know, this comes last in my ranking, so it's at the bottom, number 6. Even though, well, now they have 7 albums, I don't have the new one yet. Dying to hear that. But yeah, this is my least favorite Dark Funeral album, and yeah, look at that artwork. Like, some people might say it's a bit cheesy, but I like the color. It looks very demonic. The artistic detail and the logo, it's brilliant. And again, when this album came out, I was really excited for it. And then when I bought it, I was a bit disappointed. So again, not a terrible album, but for me, just some songs, again, it's like the Enthroned one. It's lacking catchiness. It's not as memorable as some of the other Dark Funeral albums. And there are some parts in some songs, the transitions, where I sort of go, that doesn't really work for me. Like Lars's dad says, there's something not right about that. So, like, in my opinion, again, but like, it doesn't quite click with me. But there are some really good songs. Like, the last 3 songs are probably my favorites. So Angel Flesh Impaled, Feed on the Mortals, and Final Ritual. Also Atrium Regina, that's the slower one. That is a really good song. But again, about half of the album, it just doesn't grab me at all. So certainly not worth discarding, but worth checking out. But again, it's not an overly consistent album, so it doesn't quite live up to this amazing artwork, in my opinion. But like with all the other albums I've mentioned so far, with the exception of, in my opinion, Suicidal Tendencies, it's still worth checking out. So Dark Funeral with Atera Totus Sanctus. All right, so that concludes the 5 albums where the music doesn't live up to the artwork. Now let's flip it the other way after some coffee. You know Mr. Wolf in Pulp Fiction. Alright, so now we're talking about albums where the cover art is boring, but the music is awesome. So again, don't be fooled. Like, sometimes the cover might look bland and you think, oh, totally dull, I'm not going to check it out, but then the music inside can actually be brilliant. So I started with the negative, now we're going to the positive. All right, so first album I'm going to talk about, where it's boring cover art, but brilliant album. It's all black. So any guesses as to what this might be? Have to look at the inner sleeve. This is Abruptum with Obscuritatum Advoco Amplectera Me. So if you're not familiar, Abruptum, I should really hold it the other way, but I'm just emphasizing the boring cover art here. I mean, it does capture an idea. It's very evil and black and dark. Yeah, we get it, but it's not exactly an exciting cover art, is it? But yeah, Abruptum were a duo of, it was sort of like black metal mixed with noise, and the way Relapse Records described it was frightening satanic experimentation. So there's no song structure, it's just experimenting with dark and evil sounds with the black metal aesthetics, like with the rawness, the dungeon-like atmosphere, the shrieks. And these two members, as you can see here, It and Evil. So It, rest in peace, he was responsible for cries, screams and torture, and Evil, guitar sounds and darkness. So Evil is actually Morgan from Marduk. And on this album, they were rumored to have recorded it during bouts of self-inflicted torture, like cutting themselves and burning themselves, and that's why you hear these tormented screams. So it's not exactly musical structure, but it's coming from that fresh time of the second wave. Sorry guys, for the interruption there. The memory on my phone filled up. What a surprise, I really need a new phone. So yeah, I'll just continue. So as I said, yeah, this album came out in 1992, so it was when the second wave of black metal was really fresh, and it's just interesting. Some people would dismiss this as just noise, but some really dark atmospheres are achieved, and I always think experimental music is interesting. Well, it can be interesting, and this really is. So, yeah, worth a listen if you like black metal and if you like dark ambient. It really sort of defies classification, but it's just interesting experimentation. But if you were to look at the cover, you might think, what the hell is that? But fantastic album. So that's my first choice for boring cover arts, but brilliant album. Abruptum with Obscuritatum Advoco Amplectera Me. Okay, up next. Second one. This is Impaled Nazarene with Rapture. So some people might be saying, what the hell, is this the cover art? Yes, it is. To my knowledge, this is the original artwork. When this album came out in 1998, that's when I bought it. I think the newer cover art is the one with the goat or the ram's head on it or something, and that's a lot more interesting. This one, yeah, at a glance, you wouldn't say this is the most interesting album cover. Like, it's got a kind of cool minimalist aesthetic, and I think it's talking about this is covering the theme of aliens. But at a glance, this album cover does not look very interesting, but it's a brilliant album. So if you're not familiar, Impaled Nazarene are a black metal band from Finland, and they're kind of interesting because they've been known to mix that genre with other styles of music like death metal, grindcore, and especially punk. This album is very punky black metal. The album before this was Latex Cult, and that was extremely punky. Then this one came out, and it was a lot heavier. It's interesting that the vocalist and band leader Mika Luttinen, he said in an interview that in his opinion this is their weakest album. I respectfully disagree. It's an absolutely fantastic album, just blasting, fast, punky black metal, which is so full of aggression and energy. It's really heavy, really catchy. Every single song is good. 14 tracks and it doesn't get boring to me, and some brilliant vitriolic lyrics in the vein that we're accustomed to with Impaled Nazarene. So, yeah. So I'm not saying that this cover art is terrible, but it's not the most interesting one, but the album is absolutely brilliant. So if you haven't checked this one out, definitely do so. That's Impaled Nazarene with Rapture. All right, up next, this is Moon Sorrow with, I hope I can pronounce it, Verisakit. That's the Finnish title. So once again, this album cover is quite boring, black jewel case with the band logo. Of course, enclosed on the inside, they have the artwork, but it's rough paper, and it's kind of dull colors, so even this artwork is quite boring too. But don't be fooled by the artwork or the cover, it's absolutely brilliant. This is epic, majestic, Viking folk metal, and the first time I heard this, I was absolutely blown away. It's enchanting, it's atmospheric, it's brilliant, it's a masterpiece. When I first heard this, you know, Enslaved sort of went a bit progressive and experimental, and I still like Enslaved with all due respect, but it's like when I heard this, I thought, oh, this is what Enslaved could have done if they kept going down that path of those albums like Frost and Eld. But as I said, I still love Enslaved as well. But yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. Like 5 songs, they're all epic and really long. But you know, there's accordions, there's violins, there's keyboards, and it just invokes these images of huge, majestic landscapes, and it really takes you off into another world. So like, this is an absolute gem. It's a masterpiece. I love it. My favorite song is and always has been is Kahu Kunsi, which I think means bear claw or something in Finnish. Sorry for my atrocious pronunciation, but again, don't judge a book by its cover. This album is a masterpiece. So Moonsoro with Verisakit. Okay, up next, this is Rollins Band with Wait. Shit, another broken album cover. Okay, so yeah, have a look at this artwork. I don't even know what the hell that is, but it's black and then this stroke of white. I don't know, is that supposed to illustrate the concept of weight? Yeah, very boring album cover, but absolutely brilliant album. My parents bought this for me in 1994. I was only 15 years old, and it is just a superb album. So of course, Henry Rollins, he was the one-time vocalist of the punk band Black Flag. Then he formed this band. This band kind of defies classification. Like, you know, on iTunes, they classify it as punk, but it's not just that. It's also taking influences from hard rock and from heavy metal, especially with the guitar solos. But really, Rollins Band have their own sound. But like, there's just so much charisma and energy and interesting moments in this music. It's absolutely fantastic. Like, Henry Rollins is a very charismatic frontman and person in general, you know, with his kind of lyrics. But the music on this is fantastic. He's got great musicians. I think it was Melvin Gibbs on bass, Sim Kane on drums, and Chris Haskett on lead guitar. Fantastic. You know, this has got 12 songs. I think I remember that the last 4 songs were not quite as strong as the rest, but honestly, I listened to it the other day. I loved every moment. This is a 10 out of 10 perfect album to me. Some of my favorite songs on this would be Civilized, Divine Object of Hatred, Step Back. That is just a brilliant vitriolic song. If you're in a really pissed off mood, listen to that. It's great. Brilliant, hateful lyrics in that song, in a healthy way. It's good. Wrong Man is just classic, so energetic. Yeah, fantastic stuff. And then, yeah, like I said, I was expecting some of the later songs to not be as good from what I remember, but they're all really good. Shine is a very inspirational song. So yeah, if you haven't heard this, definitely check it out. As I said, the cover art's not that interesting, but in my opinion, it's a 10 out of 10 album. So Rollins Band with Wait. Okay, and last CD for the day. This is Rotting Christ with Passage to Arcturo and Non Serviam. So I am familiar, these are 2 separate albums, but this is a re-release which I bought in Greece. I showed it in my very first video, actually, apart from the intro. Yeah, so Rotting Christ are an atmospheric black metal band from Greece. Everyone's probably familiar. But you look at this re-release cover art, it's not that interesting. I couldn't even work out what it was in the beginning, but I think it's supposed to be the body of Christ, maybe. But yeah, it's not the most interesting cover art, I would say. But if you're familiar with Rotting Christ, can I speak properly? No. These 2 albums are seminal, they're classic, they're absolutely brilliant. So Passage to Arcturo and Non Serviam, just like melodic, soulful Greek black metal done in that Hellenic way. Very different to the Scandinavian sound. It's all about melody and atmosphere, but whenever I listen to Rotting Christ, it just invokes images of the ancient Greek world and Greek landscapes. I love Greece. It's one of my favorite countries in the world to travel to. It carries that ancient mystery with it. And when I was traveling there, I listened to this on the iPod, you know, when I was doing a walk on the mountains or something like that, or going near the coast. Fantastic stuff. So yeah, Passage to Arcturo also has that brilliant song which is called what's that one, Gloria de Domino Inferni. Absolutely brilliant. Non Serviam, like the 5th Illusion, Wolfera the Jackal, Non Serviam, all fantastic stuff. So just great melodic, atmospheric Greek black metal. This cover art doesn't look that interesting. As I said, the 2 albums separately have better cover arts, but don't be fooled by this cover art. Both releases are amazing. So that's Rotting Christ with Passage to Arcturo and Non Serviam. Okay, and last album for the day. So the last album where I think it's a boring cover, but brilliant album. This is Alcatraz with Disturbing the Peace. Yeah, so if you're not familiar, Alcatraz are a melodic hard rock, synth rock band, sort of like heavy metal, hard rock, with a lot of synthesizers and keyboards. It's got a very 1980s AOR atmosphere, but brilliant stuff, like led by Graham Bonnet on lead vocals, who was once the vocalist of Rainbow. People have heard me talk about this band before. They released 3 albums in the 80s and then they stopped because they didn't get enough label support, which is a damn shame. So there was No Parole for Rock and Roll, this one, and then Dangerous Games. This is by far the most boring artwork. I mean, I get it, Alcatraz, the prison bars and everything, but it's not exactly exciting, is it? But ironically, of the 3, this one is my favorite. Just so majestic, so atmospheric. Brilliant playing, like in terms of guitars, keyboards, the vocals, the drums, bass, everything, and you can hear all the instruments clearly. So it's famous for the hit God Bless video. I love that song. It's just powerhouse, you know. And some of my favorite songs on this are Wire and Wood, Desert Diamond. It's got a kind of Middle Eastern atmosphere, which is really interesting. Also, Skyfire, fantastic stuff. Breaking the Heart of the City, yeah, great vocal harmonies, everything. So if you like melodic hard rock with a lot of keyboards, check this out. As I said, of the 3 albums they did in the 80s, this one's easily the best. It's my favorite Alcatraz album. Thankfully, they've come back recently, but the reunion was short-lived because then Graham Bonnet split, so now they have 2 versions of Alcatraz, but the classic albums are from the 80s. This is quite a boring cover art, but in my opinion, brilliant album. The best by Alcatraz. So that's Alcatraz with Disturbing the Peace. Okay guys, so that's it for my examples. So I've shown you 5 albums where I think it's brilliant cover art, but the music doesn't quite live up to it, and 5 albums with boring cover art, but brilliant music. So we flip it around. Okay, so hopefully that's clear enough for everyone, and yeah, not convoluted, but yeah, hopefully some people join this thread. Last time 8 people joined to my knowledge, and that's just great that people made responses. So hopefully people do so again, just for a bit of fun. Why not? And remember, if you enter, you have a chance of winning a new record or CD. So if you have any questions or anything's not clear, just contact me. But I hope you join. So once again, guys, thank you very much for your support of the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. And I hope you will stick around for more videos from me. So I hope some people respond, and I look forward to seeing your responses. In the meantime, take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.